Okay, welcome back everybody to the Black Carnivore live stream. Oh, what is that? What's wrong with me? Hey Johnny G, good to see you here, and I had you at Turkey, so I am glad, very glad. So it's good to see you, Arian. How have you been doing?
Pretty good. Um, I figured out salt.
Wow, this is huge because we've been talking about this for a couple of months now.
Yeah. It's
What
been
happened?
really more so. I should probably say I think I figured out electrolytes, which is I don't seem to need to do them, and any sort of like trying hard results in indigestion, and then that messes up my salt, and yeah, I'm all screwed up. Because yeah, I think I said on Facebook and as a response to somebody's post that I just can't seem to do any concentrated electrolytes.
But you were saying that that you weren't your salt wasn't right and so you were feeling fatigued and bad. So wh- so where is the happy medium?
Right. Okay. So yeah, I'm saying electrolytes, and what I mean is everything other than salt. So all the
Okay.
other minerals, um, like maybe I can do them in probably at the normal recommended dosage, except yeah. So we talked offline about the keto chow like daily mineral drops, and I think we both had a bad experience with those.
I didn't actually buy them. I just read through the comments on Amazon and people universally seem to pan them, so I chose not to order them. Do you order things from Amazon and actually not read the comments?
Well, these weren't from Amazon. These were from the Keto Chow site. So,
Oh, okay.
no,
Okay.
I didn't read comments, but I did watch. So they did a video with Ken Berry about the daily mineral drops, like when they released
Hmm.
those, and then they did a video, just the man and wife who like own the company or something.
Hmm.
And she said that the mineral drops are disgusting, and that she has to like do all this
Wait,
stuff
I'm
to
sorry. The owner of the company said that her own product was
well, okay,
disgusting.
so I can't say that because I don't know if she owns the company or not. I know that he is heavily involved. I know, being his wife, she's probably at least pretty heavily involved, but I don't know if she like actually developed the drops or anything like that. But yes, she's highly involved and she said these are gross. She had to like she like puts them in water. Both of them do actually. I think they put them in water with like that those packets of lemon flavor,
Hmm.
like true lemon or some crap like that. Like they're putting them with those, and yeah, that just I bet even if I tried that, it wouldn't work for me. I bet it would still
Hmm.
cause the indigestion because it just seems like that is not how my body wants to absorb minerals by
Hmm.
drinking them in such concentrated fashion in water.
Hmm.
So I could probably do a light dose of the regular mineral drops, the electrolyte drops, the daily minerals. I still got a little bottle of those, and I don't know how I'm gonna use them because they're so gross. Um,
Well, send them to me. I'll give them a try.
right, so then you can have the indigestion.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the regular electrolyte drops seem to be okay in small doses. If I
Hmm.
go, it seems like anything more than probably maybe even twice the recommended dosage, I might have problems there. I haven't even tried because I've just been doing um, more concentrated salt water, and I've been fine with that. And that has
So
gotten me
it's
back to
interesting. Uh-huh.
feeling good.
So it's interesting that you say this because remember I had Judy Cho on and we did an interview a couple months ago. And she
Hmm.
said when I was interviewing her that the people she works with, she does not have them take electrolytes and she takes them off all electrolytes and finds that. the more people supplement with it, the more it kind of messes them up and it ends up being more of a problem. And just increasing the salt is enough for their bodies to kind of sort out all the electrolytes. And,
Yeah.
and I guess I feel like in the beginning, people usually need more help, but later on, they may be able to get away with just adding more salt. And then Johnny G also mentions that there are people who don't add salt at all to their food, or to anything. And so there definitely are no salt carnivores and who also do fine. So,
Mhm.
so I don't know. Like, I'm not telling you all to drop your electrolytes, but if you feel like, you're puffy or, your blood pressure is rising, even though you're, doing this and you're, getting your insulin resistance under control, it might be worth experimenting with just keeping salt and that's it. Or you could try a no salt period. My first 2 weeks were no salt, my first 2 weeks of carnivore. I don't know why, but I thought that I had to do that. And and the first day or two, it was just kind of like, ugh. And then after that, it was like, oh, this is fine. I don't know why I thought that
Mhm.
this wasn't going to work. Um, I think I like my food better with salt, but it was fine without.
And so I remember it might have been a Judy Cho um, episode, not when you interviewed her, but at some point, like she'll do these things where she'll do these videos where she's like basically going through a consultation with a client. Um, and I'm pretty sure she talked about people like that there are some people who just run through salt quickly, versus others. And it
Mhm.
really feels like I might be one of those people because I do what I do now. Like this water's plain, but most of the water I drink now will be instead of like isotonic will be half teaspoon of salt to 8 ounces of water, or no, a quarter teaspoon to 8 ounces.
That's a
I'm doing
a lot.
well. That's how much salt is in our blood and interstitial fluid. So
Okay.
I'll go twice that now, which I actually found on the Diet Doctor website. Like I was like kind of desperate. I was really tired of feeling crappy, couldn't figure out why I'm so tired and all that stuff. And so I was just looking for more information again, and I tried to just start from the beginning and take away some of my biases. And I saw that, yeah, Diet Doctor says for keto flu, which is what it felt like I was having, which is amazing that I could be like keto flu-ish this far in the game. But yeah, my salt was really messed up. So yeah, they said a half teaspoon and 8 ounces of water, and just do that, as much as you feel necessary.
Okay, that
And
seems like a ton of salt. Wow, that must
it
be really
is.
salty.
I
Okay, because when
mean,
I add salt to my sparkling water, it's like a shake, from the shaker. I mean, it's not even an eighth of a teaspoon at all.
yeah, and I think between that and like how you described how much salt you put in your when you do salt your coffee, it's like just barely a pinch and you can taste the difference. Like that does not, I wouldn't even be able to tell if you did that and it was in my coffee. So it definitely sounds like your body may conserve salt more than mine does, because that sounds like a ton of salt to you. And for me, like drinking that day, it tasted good every time. I had probably 6 cups. Like it's just like 3 teaspoons of salt just in the water, let alone what I'm putting on the food too, because I am
Hmm.
still salting my food, and a lot of times that's pretty heavy. And yeah, I started feeling better the next day. Really that
Wow.
night, but like really the next day, I started feeling better.
Okay. So half a teaspoon for 8 ounces.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I didn't put any electrolytes in it besides the salt, so I didn't have to
Hmm.
like drink it slow or anything like that. And I didn't get sick off of it.
Hmm. Okay. Well, so there you have it, folks. The formula for a salt flush is not a half a teaspoon of salt to 8 ounces of water. I don't know
Uh,
why I can never remember the formula because that's important so you don't do it to yourself by accident.
Well, I think part of it too is, especially for a salt flush, the water needs to be warm. It needs to be
Huh.
warm or hot.
Okay.
Yeah, every
Yeah.
time I've accidentally salt flushed myself, it's been warm or hot water or hot broth, and I added way too much salt to it. Like,
Yeah.
it tastes gross.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Well, there you have it, folks. We finally have gotten to the bottom of the salt mystery, and yeah, good job.
Turned
And
out it was electrolytes the whole time.
yeah, yeah. And I'm backing off too. So I go through. I feel like I go through phases where I add more electrolytes, and I'm currently in a phase where I'm not adding them to my water, and I haven't been adding salt either to my water. So
Mm,
it just kind of comes and goes. You know.
yeah,
So okay, well, good. So I'm glad you're feeling good this week.
thank you. And how are you doing?
I'm good. Everything is good. I ordered some scallops and beef bacon and chuck roast from Whole Foods. So I'm the scallops and the beef bacon I'm saving for Thanksgiving. And I may get a ribeye or something special for Thanksgiving itself. But I the prices I've noticed are, crazy. I can't believe how expensive beef is. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah, I'm hearing about that. It hasn't really affected me yet, but I've heard it's
Yeah,
like 30% higher in a lot of places.
yeah, yeah. It's actually quite stunning. And for those of you who are in the Facebook group, I don't know if you noticed a post today from one of the members who has been, sort of contacting farmers around the country, from whom she buys, grass-fed or pastured beef. And she is providing that information for everyone. So if you are interested in it, make sure you take a look at that post. And I pinned it, so you should be able to easily find it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
saw that today.
mhm,
And there's a
mhm,
poll around it to see if people wanted like just grass fed, if they wanted it to only show grass fed farms or just all farms that are selling direct to
mhm.
customers.
Yeah. I'm fine with grain finished cows if they, come from a local farm where they're, generally treated well. Like, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. So I voted for both. And
Yeah.
I did an interview this week with the owner of Mighty Meats, who is a black carnivore who started making this ground beef, heart, and liver mixture, and now he's started this company to sell it. So I will be bringing that to you, sometime over the next couple of weeks, and yeah, it'll be exciting to have one more purveyor that we can order from.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
somebody black at that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he also suggested that I get a meat grinder and that, there are some on Amazon that are not that expensive because, I have liver, I have heart right now in the freezer, and I have chuck roast. So that's the ingredients for a good solid hamburger. Yeah.
That's a it's an
Yeah.
idea. I think the main thing that stops me is just do I want another thing taking up space? But I'd probably
Yeah.
find some place to put it up when I'm not needing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, but like that is something that I eat a lot of, ground beef. So why not? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so let's see. Mandel says, what for muscle cramps? I'm noticing stuff seems to get stuck and not moving right, like cramps stepping over a ditch, grip cramps swinging a hammer, knees inflamed. So I would say for the cramps, magnesium. I tried getting a magnesium spray, and that can help a lot with the leg cramps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you're having that kind of thing, then yes, you still have needs that you need to get resolved.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's the short term thing. It's most likely need magnesium, and hopefully you can eventually get off of that.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, Stephanie says, so you backed off the electrolytes and upped your salt, half teaspoon to 8 ounces. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let's go on and talk about well, briefly, let's talk about the video from Tuesday. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but I finally got to talk to our van lifer, and that was really exciting.
Yeah, I did see it, and it was super interesting, like the entire way.
Hmm.
You guys talked about the van stuff for like the first half of it, or I guess this is the first half of the
Hmm.
interview. But
Hmm.
yeah, like that was really interesting. And then there was a whole lot to van life that I did not know. I've not explored that area at all. Like you apparently have been watching the videos, so you know a bit more about it.
Hmm. Well,
So
yes. I mean, it's pretty cool to look at these vans and the builds that people do. So, but she's super, simple about it. So, yeah.
yeah, she said for a while she didn't even have furniture in her apartment, and
Mhm.
I guess I can't remember her answer. I know you asked her if she had like a desk and stuff. Does she have like a work area in her van?
Oh my God, I don't remember either. I'm not sure she answered that question. I know I asked that, but I'm not sure she answered it. She did talk about
Yeah,
the power, the power. Yeah.
right. So I know she has power,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
yeah, so that was super interesting. She has a van, or no, she has a freezer that she keeps inside the van that she keeps meat in. And I think she said a freezer was actually more useful than a refrigerator.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, when I watch these van lifers, they have a lot of cabinets for food and, their dry goods stores. They have these elaborate spice rack things so that, you don't have stuff moving around all over the place and refrigerators. And I look at that and I think, wow, it's so awesome to be a carnivore because really all you need is salt and then, a freezer for the meat and then you got to figure out, some kind of cooking situation. But
Hmm.
yeah, it just seems really, really simple. And now a lot of the van lifers cook inside the van, and I kind of feel like I don't know, that would get kind of messy. Like I, for me, like I still have to deal with the grease on the floor thing, and I know that that's happening because my dog will go in the kitchen and lick the floor. So after I cook, so I know that grease is splattered on the floor.
Mm. I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, if you're frying a lot of stuff, I know
Hmm.
lately for me, the only thing I'm frying is breakfast, and that's a new thing. I haven't been eating breakfast for a while. That may be a part of the salt issue. Now all of a sudden,
Hmm.
me and breakfast are back on. But
Hmm.
yeah, for like dinner food, everything's in the air fryer or the Instapot. So as long as I had a way to like secure those while I was driving, because that Instapot, if I put a roast in there, it's going to be at least
Hmm.
an hour. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, you're probably not cooking while you're driving, and that's a fast way to cook. Yeah,
Hmm.
that could
Hmm.
work.
Yeah, I've seen some van lifers who have like an air fryer, and others have like a microwave, and some have stoves and stuff like that. But yeah, I think you can give up all of the like the pots and pans and stuff like that, and use the space for an instant pot and an air fryer. Or a grill and just I've seen people load them sort of in the back so they can slide out a tray and cook outside behind the van.
Mm,
So
hmm.
yeah, so I don't know, but looking at all of that, it's kind of cool to imagine what that would be like. But yeah, well,
Yeah,
hmm.
that could be cool. Yeah, I couldn't do it it's not me, it's not my, I couldn't do it for a long time. but
Mhm.
that'd be a fun vacation kind of deal.
Mhm. I think my camera froze. No, I'm
It
back.
did for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the video, and part two is coming next week, and we continue to talk about, lots of van life experiences. So that was really cool. And it was really, I was so excited. I had a lot of questions.
Yeah. And then, so her being carnivore, I think she said that makes van life a lot easier because she doesn't need to
Mhm.
cheat on the days that she travels because I guess it's so easy to cook for herself.
Well, she
Um,
was saying travel days were the harder days for her
oh,
because you're driving for a long time and it's just easier to kind of pick something up than to deal with cooking and stopping and all that.
okay.
Hmm.
Um, and then she had a host of health issues.
Hmm.
She named a
Yeah.
lot of things. The only one I remember was PCOS, but I can't remember.
Hmm.
I know she said her allergies had improved already,
Hmm. Hmm.
and she can feel the difference in the allergies as soon as she eats something with gluten in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's
So
so amazing how what kind of relief we get from allergies and how quick it is. So that is really awesome.
yeah, um, it, I'll be interested to see like if you do a follow up with her like in another year or something, like if some of those
Hmm.
other issues have improved as well.
Yeah. So the other thing that I did this week, so you all remember Leonard, our who was a co-host, I don't know, maybe that was a month ago, and who had all of the success turning around his diabetes. Well, he talked about how he has a friend who's a doctor and runs this group for people who have diabetes and are in recovery, and so that doctor invited me to come and speak to the group, and so I did that yesterday, and that was a lot of fun. I gotta say, Leonard has inspired so many people. There were like three or four people in the group that already are doing carnivore and have been doing it for a while. So
Nice.
that was, yeah, yeah. So he is quite an inspiration for people, and I'm so glad to see random people in Atlanta like doing the carnivore life. That was really awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Hmm. So, yeah, and please, all of you guys who are listening, if you are able to turn somebody on to this lifestyle and get them going on it, I want to hear about it. Like, I want to, hear about all of our successful evangelist moments. Because I feel like in my real life, I'm not able to evangelize anybody.
Right. It's like
Yeah,
it happens
yeah,
so rarely that we got
yeah.
to hear about the positives to know that it is possible.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, So let's see. I see some people talking about hot logic. I don't know what that is, but that sounds like it is helpful. I did
Yeah.
put out a video this week. I'm going to, visit my dad, and he's a vegetarian, and I'm actually a little concerned about like how I'll deal with cooking at his house.
Yeah. Because most vegetarians, or at least a good number of them, don't want meat in their house. And they definitely don't want it on their um, cooking surfaces and stuff. So,
I don't think he's going to be super difficult, but I probably should be respectful and not like splatter grease everywhere. So that's what I'm kind of thinking about.
you
So
and this grease,
I mean, but it's a problem. Like, yeah, I
clearly.
could just go to his house and, use one of his frying pans and fry up ground beef and stuff like that. But, it is a mess.
I, I don't understand this. I don't know. Somebody explain to me, am I weird or something? Like, I don't get grease everywhere when I cook, but in like, so there'll be grease on the stove around the pan, and then you take a rag and you clean that up. How's How's grease getting places that can't be cleaned or that don't end up cleaned?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I could clean more often and more thoroughly. But you
There we
know,
go.
yeah. I mean, I could do more floor mopping more often and all of that. But I do have a window next to my stove, and it's got like, those metal bars on the window on the inside. And so it's hard to like get through them and clean off the window. And there's like a lot of fat on the window because I've been, frying bacon, frying hamburgers, frying fat trimmings, there you go.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you're going for crispy every time. So your pan's
Mhm.
probably hotter than mine is most of the time.
Mhm. Yeah.
That, yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay. Johnny G the dog is coming with me.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's turn to talking about the topic of the day. So I talked about, well, last week we talked about possible meal plans and recipes for Thanksgiving. Did you have a chance to look at that? What did you think of those?
I did not. So what
Mm.
were the best ideas?
Mm-hmm. Well, there were a lot of good ideas for appetizers, the main meal. There were a few carnivore desserts for those who can handle artificial sweeteners and dairy. So yeah, there were some really good ideas there. Let me know in the chat if which ones you liked and what you thought about it. But so that was helpful for if you're doing the cooking yourself, or if you're in a place where you can bring a dish. But we should also more broadly just sort of talk about a strategy for the holidays altogether. So when I was at Weight Watchers, what I used to, tell people was like, you've got three basic options. You can just stay on plan, or you can, make some modifications. And, so for us, that might be, going keto and having some of the vegetable dishes, but staying away from the really starchy and high sugar ones. And then, the third option is just go all in and eat everything that you want, and but have a hard stop. And so define the period of time that you're going to allow yourself to eat off plan, and then bring it to a close and have a plan for how you're going to get back on carnivore. And
Hmm.
and yeah, and those are the strategies. And so in the video, I kind of talked about the pros and cons of each of those methods. So I would love to hear from you, like, what have you done every holiday season? Have you always just eaten the standard American fare, or did you stay carnivore any particular holiday?
It's always been standard American fare. I if I were going to try to be carnivore on a holiday where I wasn't by myself, if there's nobody's house to go to, then it's easy. I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably like shoot, I've got a rib roast and I think a strip roast in my freezer. Like I could just cook
Mm-hmm.
one of those. It's something special. That's my meal for the next few days, and I feel like I had
Mm-hmm.
Thanksgiving. But if I'm going to be at somebody's house where like all the things are there, the yams and dressing and mac and cheese, um, I would have to. I'd probably make myself eat in a different room than everybody else if I were going to skip all the sides. Like I don't want to see them. I need to go in the kitchen, make my plate, and then go somewhere else where we can
Mm-hmm.
talk, but I don't need to see all that stuff and smell everything. It's gonna make me want to eat it.
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Okay. So, yeah, some years I have stayed carnivore, and I have made the whole Thanksgiving feast and then made something different for myself and just ate my thing and didn't eat the
Mm.
other stuff. But in other years, I have, eaten the other stuff. So, it really kind of depends. But, you pay a price. I mean, no matter what choice you make, there are consequences to your choice. But the
Right.
years that I have eaten the standard, Thanksgiving fare, like I have felt horrible the same night and the next day, and it's taken a long time to get back on track. And Johnny G says, yeah, it's just one day. But I would have to say no, because the beauty of Thanksgiving is all the leftovers you have for the next couple of days. So, I got to say, dressing is even tastier the next day and the next day still. So it's kind of hard for me to just stop. And definitely in years past, I would like make huge portions of some of the foods so that I'd have them for a couple of days.
Mhm. Yeah, I think if you're lucky, it's just one day. Like if you're one of those people, probably I guess who's healed enough that you can just eat the stuff that one day, go home, and not feel too bad, and
Hmm.
you're back on track the next day. But
Hmm.
for most people, that's not the case, and
Yeah.
you're gonna want to take the leftovers home. Eating all that starch and sugar is gonna make you feel like binging in the next few days. Like it could set you down a spiral very easily.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, Johnny G says give away leftovers. So
Yes.
sometimes easier said than done. I've definitely had years where I think people came to the dinner expecting to eat, poorly for that dinner and then go home and go back on their diet. So nobody wanted to take leftovers. And it was like I was trying to push food out. But
Yep.
other years I have, bought, those like aluminum foil tins that you get from for takeout from restaurants with a paper lid. Just bought them so that when I was packing up the food and taking it away, I packed up a plate for everybody, and so already had divvied up all the food and had it for people so that I wouldn't I wasn't planning on keeping it in the house. So that can be a good strategy too. Uh, and Yeah, and one of the things that I also did was, make my, whole family play board games. And that way, after we ate, I would have to clean off the dining room table so we could set up the board games. So it kind of put a hard stop on the eating. So you're not sitting in front of food for 2 hours and like, continuing to pick at it. So
Mhm.
that was a really helpful strategy. And it also gave a little break between dinner and dessert. So, because I often needed to make some space for the dessert because I ate too much at dinner. So, I
I
may I
always,
recommend that.
yeah, I can never, if I'm eating a full meal, I can't eat right after anything. I need time.
Hmm.
Um, Sorry, I feel like I need like at least like 45 minutes before I
Hmm.
can try to eat dessert or anything else. Someone like brought something late. It's like I'm already full. I can't do that right now. And even after, it's like I can eat, but I probably shouldn't and definitely don't need to.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So, if you are cooking the Thanksgiving feast yourself, then I would plan to pack up all the leftovers so that everybody can go home with something. Or depending on where you live, maybe you want to put together a plate for some of your local, homeless people or elderly people. So there's always somebody who can use a plate of food, and then also have a plan. What would happen sometimes is I would, cook these huge feasts, and so there would be all this food in the fridge that's for Thanksgiving, but there's no other food. And so I would be sort of picking out what I'm cooking, because there's no other food to eat. And then after Thanksgiving, there's nothing there. So kind of prepare so that you have your whatever food you want to be, your next meal to get you back on track. Make sure that that's there and that's available.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Like I wouldn't
Hmm.
want to getting out of Thanksgiving with no food would probably lead me to it would make it more likely that I'm going to make a bad decision about what to eat after.
Hmm.
All of a
Hmm.
sudden, there's no food in the house. You just cooked everything. Probably not going to
Hmm.
feel like
Hmm. Yeah. So that's a strategy if you're the one handling the food. If you're going to someone's house, then you've got, the other problem, which is you can't control what food is there. There may not be anything that, you feel like you can safely eat, and you have to deal with the judgment of other people.
it. Hmm.
Yeah.
In that case, I definitely think the first line of defense is to not come there hungry. Eat before
Hmm.
and have food that have some food that you like in the house too. So then you're probably less like you feel less obligated to take leftovers because well, I don't know what I'm gonna eat tomorrow or the next day. You've got food already there. You don't have to take leftovers for that reason.
Yeah, I've always made that mistake. I don't know what it was in my household growing up, like at my grandparents' house, and then later my uncle's house. I, I always thought we were good. We were supposed to eat earlier. Like the idea is that we were going to eat around 2 or 3, and then it's never ready before 7. And so I come thinking that we were going to eat around 2 or 3, and it's not ready. And then there are some appetizers and, maybe some nuts, but, that can only hold you so long. And so I would be
Hmm.
ravenous and, keep coming in the kitchen like, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? Are we going to eat yet? So it would, yeah, it was always kind of a nightmare. Like,
Lifting up the pot
yeah,
lids and smelling stuff like you sure this ain't
yeah,
done? This sure smells done.
yeah, yeah. And, people yelling, just get out of the kitchen. And then as I was, cooking the meals, I always wanted to eat around 2. And like people just didn't come until later. And then there's always an issue with the turkey. Something goes on with the stove, like it's just not, it takes a long time to cook and it's never ready. So I've just never been able to put out, Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner before, 6 p.m. So again, I'm less starving and I'm cooking all day. So it's like I'm not really thinking about sitting down to eat and I'm starving.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Sounds rough.
Yeah. So what else can you do to handle like the judgment and comments of other people? Because people always seem to have something to say.
I have not had a holiday dinner around a bunch of people since I've been carnivore. And I don't know. Like I'm thinking about like my family. There's, you know what? I wouldn't be by myself. I've got at least like one aunt on my mom's side that she's keto, I think, and she lost a ton of weight, so like she understands. So any
Hmm.
argument that comes up about, hey, why you ain't eating no cornbread or whatever, like
Hmm.
she's gonna be right there saying, well, he doesn't want carbs, and they're actually not healthy.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, there would be less of a fight there. So yeah, it's good to have an ally. Um, Beyond that, what I find is it's a lot easier if you don't try to defend yourself. And that doesn't
Hmm.
mean not speak up, but like you don't have to defend what you're doing.
Hmm.
Whoever this is, you don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them justification for you doing what you feel like doing with your body.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I think too, the way we answer people kind of, it tips them off on how to behave. So I feel like, a
Yeah.
lot of times someone will bring out a pie and they'll be like, "Oh, look at this. You want some, right?" And, for the person who's dieting but doesn't, wants it but doesn't want it, they're kind of like, oh, no, don't ask me. I shouldn't have it. And so, of course, the
Hmm.
person is going to say, yes, you should. It's a holiday. It's a special day. It doesn't count. Blah, blah, blah. Treat yourself. Blah, blah, blah. But,
Right.
you've already opened the door, exposing your like, ambivalence, or, or your frank outright desire. And so, you've sort of created this conundrum. But if they, present it to you, and you just say, "Oh no, I don't like that," or "I don't want that," then,
Yeah.
it's just over. There's no further conversation there. So I think it's really important for you, when you're expressing what you want, that you say no fully, firmly, clearly. You don't have to be rude, but just say no, and you don't need any further explanation. You don't have to explain why no, just no.
Yep. Yeah,
And
I do that.
sometimes,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead. No,
I do
I
that
was
with
going
my
to say
parents
sometimes.
sometimes. So they'll ask me like, I'll be leaving from Sunday, and my mom will sometimes. She stopped doing it lately, but she would ask me like about all the leftovers. Well, do you want this? Do you want this? Did you get enough of this? And I'll like, I know how to make my
Hmm.
own plate.
Hmm.
Please back off. But also, when she asks the question, I'll just say no. There
Hmm.
doesn't, like you said, there doesn't need to be an explanation. Do you want any greens? No, I'm good. And in my head, I'm going, I didn't really, either the greens were good, I'm glad I had them today, and that's it, or I didn't really want the greens in the first place, but they weren't so bad. I definitely don't want to take them home,
Hmm. Yeah.
but you don't need to say any of that. Plain old no
Hmm.
is a complete sentence.
Yes. Yes. And I know that is super hard for a lot of us. And, people, a lot of times people feel like they're, not expressing their love for family, and that, there's all this emotion that is wrapped around the preparation and presentation of the food. And that's true. So, you can also try to compensate by, like, actually saying to somebody, I love you, or it's so good to see you. I haven't heard about, what's going on with you. Tell me what's happening, tell me everything, and like actually pay
Hmm.
attention. What I mean, that's the whole point of these family gatherings. I mean, you're supposed to be spending time with each other. So spend the time and actually engage with people and give them your full attention. And the food may not be as big a deal.
Yeah, yeah, and that's probably another good strategy, just in general. Definitely don't let the food compensate for something that you probably should be doing anyway, and
Hmm.
um, like move the conversation to other places. Get it off of
Yes.
you.
Yes. So many times I've done that. Look, everybody loves a compliment. So if, something comes up that you don't really want to answer, like, first of all, you're an adult and you don't have to answer every question that is asked of you. Every time anyone speaks to you, it is not your responsibility to respond to them, to answer, to satisfy their needs. So you don't have to answer any questions. And you can
Hmm.
just say, "Oh, I love that sweater," or if you see the discussion is going in a certain way and you don't want to go there, interrupt and say something different, and bring the discussion somewhere else. So many
Yep.
times I have done that, and just because I could see people are going to say, "Well, but what about your cholesterol?" And it's like, you know, no one's really listening to or interested in your answer. They're not going to believe you. And, why start like a Thanksgiving, argument? Somebody else will say, there'll be some political thing or something else to start a big family fight. So, leave it to that.
Right.
And yeah, don't add more fights for yourself. Just, just say, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to explain anything. It's just, this is what I'm eating. Like,
Yeah.
it's nothing more to discuss. And I like your sweater. I like your haircut. or Aunt so and so, did you gain some weight? The one who's
Yeah, did
always
you gain
asking
weight?
you, the one who's always asking you about your weight or why you're not married yet or who you're dating. Yeah. Bring it back around
Like,
and ask
what's
these
up with your
people.
weight?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, be confident in yourself and don't explain yourself. It's nobody's
Hmm.
business really what you put in your mouth. I mean, once you're an adult, your job is to keep yourself alive. It's not anybody else's job. So it's
Yeah.
not any of their business.
Yeah. And I like what you said earlier too, that they're not really interested in your answer. 'Cause I've found very much that like I prepare for these arguments and then
Mhm.
they actually don't happen.
Mhm.
Or I'm a piece of the way into it and the person is already
Mhm.
like they're checking out at that point. I'm like, oh, so like you really didn't care. And I
Mhm.
realized that for a lot of the people I'm around, the way they have conversations is not how I have them. Like I want to talk
Mhm.
about a topic until we're done and then move on to the next thing. And they you might hit 20 topics in it
Mhm.
feels like 5, 10 minutes because they're just barely touching the surface of everything. So
Yeah.
I've had people just ask me like, "Oh, what's going on?" Like I was at a housewarming, and the host asked me like, "Did did you not want, or are there not buns out? Because I can go get more buns. I'm sure there's more buns." And I was like, "No, I'm good. I don't want any." And then they said, "Oh, so you're not eating bread?" And I just said no. And they said, "Oh, okay." And they went to go talk to the next guest or something. Like there was no debate about it. They didn't
Mhm.
care.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes we think that people will care more, but probably that person's like, "Oh, thank God, I don't have to go and get this guy some bread or find
Right.
he doesn't want my buns, and so now I got to go find a piece of, raisin bran or I don't know, bread or
Yeah.
whatever." Yeah.
They're just like,
Yeah.
you know what? Whatever. I don't care. Eat what you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope that is helpful to you all. I know that people get really, really stressed out, and Thanksgiving is the first, of the like holiday gatherings. So this is like the first time that you're really going to have to defend, whatever it is that you're doing. And know that the first year is the hardest time. People are, going to ask a lot of questions. Thereafter, they won't
Mhm.
care. And next year they will see you again, and then they'll be like, "Oh my God, you look amazing. So what are you doing? So how do I eat this? No vegetables, really? What about broccoli?"
Yeah. You may get some of that from somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. And
You,
honestly, though, people just do not listen. I was telling this guy that I have this, a YouTube channel, and it's called Black Carnivore, and it's about eating a meat-based diet. And he was like, "Oh, so you're a vegetarian?" And I said, "No, it's about eating a meat-based diet. I eat meat." And he was like, "Oh, so you don't eat meat? That's a vegetarian, right?" And I was like, is this on? Can you hear me? Are my earphones working?" And I said, I
bruh.
only I only eat meat. And he was like, "So you you're a vegetarian?" And I was like, "The opposite of vegetarian. Only meat." And he's like, I don't know, I kind of blew his mind, and then he just stopped talking. Like I don't think he understood even at the end of it. So I don't know.
That's amazing.
Hmm. So people just hear what they want to hear, and yeah.
Hey, I told you meat based 3 different times, and somehow
Hmm.
your brain translated that into vegetarian.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean,
That's
there's no,
amazing.
it's not even words that sound similar to vegetarian. So there was no
No,
like mishearing me. It was just like I can't conceive of that. And I was like, I use the
they
word carnivore, like I don't know. That
Like,
seems
do
like
you,
says it all.
you would think, right? Like, how do you not, what else could carnivore mean, sir? But yeah,
Well,
people
I
don't
think
listen.
people think what carnivore means is that I eat meat, not that I only eat meat. That
Mm,
it somehow has replaced the word omnivore.
mm. And see, I actually don't mind that sometimes because that
Hmm.
means less debate from people.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, there was another time I was out and whatever was there was like there was only one thing that I could eat out of the whole menu of the cookout or whatever we were at. Was it a party or
Hmm.
something? Anyway, and um, I told somebody was like, "Do you want another plate?" And I said, "Not really, because there's nothing there I can eat." And they were like, "Oh, well, what do you eat?" And I said, "Carnivore." And they just said, "Oh, okay." And I don't know if they're thinking that that means like pure meat or just that I do eat meat. But either way, like saying carnivore maybe is a softer blow on people than to just say I only eat meat.
Hmm.
And yeah, when I
Yeah.
don't want the debate, I like that.
Hmm. I think that I don't know. I'm not even sure that everyone even knows what the word carnivore means. I don't know. You
Yeah,
really
it
don't.
is kind of a sciencey word.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, So I would love to hear from you guys in the chat. Write in the chat what your strategy is going to be, what your plan is. And I would say, the most important thing too is to have a plan for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Because I feel like, many times I'd be like, okay, it's just going to be Thursday. I'm going to eat what I want, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And it'll be all over, on Thursday. And then Friday comes and it's like, oh, well, there's a little leftovers, or I would like a little more dressing and a little more cranberry sauce and blah, blah, blah. And then, Friday evening comes and I go to a movie or whatever. And then it's like, well, let me have a little more. And then Saturday, there's a party or dinner or somebody else is having like a Thanksgiving leftovers party. And so by Monday, I'm still eating Thanksgiving food from, various sources. And I probably haven't, I may or may not have gone grocery shopping, so I might not even have food for the upcoming week. So that's kind of where, things go wrong for me. And if you're going to do a lot of socializing and partying, of which, there's a lot, you got to have a strategy for all of those events as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot tougher if there's a lot of things to do. Like for me, I'm going to be lucky enough to most likely just have Thursday
Hmm.
and then Sunday. So I have
Hmm.
days in between. And I think it is important if you are going to indulge that you keep that very limited. Don't indulge over the whole weekend. Don't indulge. Don't even do it for a whole day. Like,
Hmm.
do it for that one meal. Keep it light just so you can taste that stuff and got it out your system. And then go back to what you were supposed to be doing.
Hmm. Yeah. Now, if you are having trouble going back to what you're supposed to be doing, you must join my carnivore challenge. So I'm going to do another 21-day carnivore challenge starting December 1st. And then that'll be starting, well, on a Tuesday. So that's, a little odd man off. But if you find that you can't get it back together Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, know that by Tuesday you have a hard stop where you start the challenge with everybody else, and that'll help you get through the next 3 weeks. So definitely do that. I will put the link in the description. I don't know why I didn't already, or maybe I did. I don't know. Take a look. But I will put the link back in the description. And the people have really done great on the challenge. I've actually been so impressed and so pleased and surprised by how much progress you can actually see in 21 days. And I don't know how many of you saw Tiffany Harris. She's doing like a 75 hard. So, but she posted her picture from day one and day 22. And it was really stunning to see the progress that she made. I mean, how much mass she'd lost around her stomach, and
Oh,
and
yeah.
I Yeah, and I remember she'd written that, she had to look at the picture because she was feeling kind of down, like she wasn't making much progress, and she felt like she couldn't really see the progress. But when she actually looked at the picture, then it was pretty stunning, the progress. And this is why I really encourage people, I really push people to take these pictures because honestly, you cannot see the change. You cannot remember the change. You can't remember exactly what your body looked like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You need a photograph for that. And honestly, we lose fat in different places on the body, and some of those places get measured, but and others don't. One of the places that I see a lot of times slimming down is like the neck area. And so, but I don't, usually people don't measure their neck. I mean, I don't know, maybe guys do, but women don't. So, like, that's not, you're never going to capture that. You're never going to see that fat loss is coming off there unless you're looking at a picture. So, take your pictures, folks. I know you don't want to do it, but later on, once you reach your goal, you're going to be kicking yourself that you didn't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wish I had taken more. I've got a few pictures of me from back um, before carnivore, before like really getting healthy this last time, and
Hmm.
they're mostly all with clothes. So the only place I can really see the difference is if I've got a t-shirt on, I can see it in my arms because there's more definition in my arms now, and my face looks smaller.
Hmm.
But yeah, I wish I had done just like pictures in underwear every week or couple weeks or month.
Yeah. Now you don't have to get crazy with it because you want to be able to show these pictures publicly. So, select something, you know,
Or some
whatever
shorts.
level whatever level of modesty you're comfortable with. When I was at Weight Watchers though, there were some people who when it was time to get on the scale, like they wanted to strip down to almost nothing. And would wear the same thing every week, and they never wanted to wear anything, anything at all. And I'm like, come on, please, we're in public. There are men here. It's a very female space, but there are men here, and please, I don't want to see your bra. I don't want to see your bra. And if you're gonna do that, wear a nice one, okay? Like, why, don't wear your
No,
raggedy
no.
ass drawers. So anyway,
You gonna get this Walmart bra.
yeah,
They
yeah.
don't care.
So don't do that. But yeah, I mean, take some pictures. You're really you're gonna miss it. Okay, so I'm seeing, let's see, Stephanie says she's planning to stay on track. Yes. So
Nice.
Stephanie, if you're staying on track, who's cooking Thanksgiving dinner? Where is it going to be? What is your plan? What are you going to eat on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Are you going to do groceries and all of that? So let us hear the detail on that. Professor J. Ray says, I will do keto for Thanksgiving. Back to Relax Carnivore. I'm assuming Back to Relax Carnivore on Friday. And again, what does that look like? And I think it's really helpful for me anyway. It's really helpful to have my absolute favorite carnivore meal ready, so that first meal where I'm going back into carnivore is one that I'm looking forward to and I enjoy. So even if I
Mm,
feel like I'm missing the sweets, I'm eating something that I'm excited about. So, okay. And so Professor
that's
J.
smart.
Ray, yeah, if you're doing a keto for Thanksgiving, um, are you just going to eat the vegetables that are available to you? Or are you going to make something and bring it with you? Let's hear a little detail about that. That's great. Yeah, Johnny G, that's right. Yeah, you add bone mass and lean tissue on carnivore. And yes, so like the scale is just a terrible measure. um, let's see. April Ray says, when I see it in my neck, that's when I know I'm losing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Esther, I'm so glad you are here. Um, yeah, low fat makes you crazy when you get to the scale. Yeah. Okay, Miss Tady says, I'll be doing more keto. So that's great. So are you going to do keto just for the dinner, or are you going to do that for the whole weekend? What does that look like? Are you going to count carbs, or are you just going to, make sure it's just vegetables and and meat, or will there be some starchy stuff or some desserts? Let's hear about that. And Patricia Marier will do keto carnivore, adding a recipe with cauliflower, and that's it. Okay, excellent. I love that. The
All
specificity
right.
is what's really important in these plans, because when you kind of leave things a little open, that's when you kind of get stuck and realize you don't really have a solution for some of the problems that will come up.
Right.
April Ray says keto, game hen, smothered cabbage, cauliflower mash, chocolate mug cake. Yum. Um, so the cabbage will be smothered with gravy, I assume. What's in the gravy? Is that like a flour based one? And what's with the
I
face?
I've never heard of smothered cabbage.
You've heard of
Hmm.
smothered food, right?
Yeah, like meat.
Well, biscuits often are smothered.
Oh, I guess I don't do that. I feel like yeah, every once in a while if I'm at like one of those restaurants like Bob Evans or Cracker Barrel, maybe do the
Oh my
gravy on the
God,
biscuits
there's a
there.
Bob
But like
Evans. You live near a Bob Evans? I
yeah, you
forget that
don't?
that's even a rest. No, I'm in New York. Like all of these things, as a child, I dreamed of going to them. None of these things exist. I see Bob
What?
Evans like sausages in the grocery store. I forget that that was like a real place. It's not
Right.
just a brand of food. It's like a real restaurant.
Huh.
Anyway,
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah,
I have
so
never been to a Bob Evans. I've never, well, I think once, maybe a decade ago, I went to a Cracker Barrel, but that was it.
mm, yeah, we got those. So yeah, that's what I would be probably doing, or that would be the one time. But yeah, I never
Well, April Ray
that's never
says
called
no.
smothered.
Well, April Ray says it's no gravy. It's cooked with pork butt. Um, Now I got to hear more about this smothered cabbage. I am very
I
curious. But
so
I
there's no
did
gravy, but it's
love.
still smothered?
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but April will type something in, I'm sure.
Hmm.
But I definitely loved biscuits with gravy. That was delicious back in the day. And I remember thinking, wow, what a southern thing, and how, tasty, and it's like a special treat up here in New York. It's not something you find in most places. And then I went to visit my cousin in North Carolina, and we went to McDonald's, and that was like one of the menu items. And I was like, I guess this is really normal in the South. So normal that McDonald's even has that as a breakfast option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my dad made biscuit gravy a couple times. Like cook some sausage and then use the I forget what it's called, but the leftovers in the pan to like
hmm
start the gravy and then crumble up the sausage and put that into the gravy at the end. Good times.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so April Ray, that is your meal there. Stephanie says, I'll be at my house and a small gathering. I'll make a separate meal for myself. Okay, excellent. Good.
Hmm.
She's still unsure what she's making though. Well, make it something delicious that you love. So, like I said, I got some scallops and I got my beef bacon, which I love. And I don't know, I got to find something else that I love. Probably I'll get some pepperoni, just whatever your favorite carnivore things are, get those,
Hmm.
so that you're excited about what you're eating. And honestly, if people have something to say, when you come to the table with your nice big ribeye and it's looking juicy with butter melting on it, I assure you there will be other people who are like, well, where's that? Why
Right.
why do I have to have turkey? Is there another one in the kitchen? Can I go get that one?
Right. Like,
So
y'all got me here with these regular ham and turkey,
this dry
especially
ass turkey.
Yes, yes. Somebody said it earlier in the comments.
Yes.
Eat the fill up
Yes.
on dry bird. I think it
Hmm.
was. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, ham and turkey, neither of which are my favorite meats. Like far from it.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
much rather have chicken than turkey, and ham, I just sweet ham I don't like, and salty ham is just it's okay.
Hmm. Well, I
Yeah, they're
love
gonna be
sweet
mad.
ham. My grandmother used to soak it in apple cider for overnight and then pack it with brown sugar on top and stuff it with cloves
Oh,
and
that
cook
sounds
it.
good.
Oh, it was delicious. That's that's the kind that I loved, and I always requested that instead of turkey. But partly because turkey is dry, but also I love my sugar. So there you go.
Makes sense.
Okay, so Jay Ray, yes, I know you, Jay Ray. So welcome. I'm so glad you are here. Large picture says I'm staying on track, staying home, beef ribs, turkey, ham at my house with my immediate family. Excellent. All right, so you've got a plan and
Yeah.
it sounds delicious. Let's see, and Patricia Maria A says that's just cabbage stir fried with bacon or salt pork, right? Oh, wasn't there that dish a couple of years ago? It was called like crack slaw or something like that. It was super popular in the keto space, like bacon and sautéed cabbage and bacon.
Mm,
Um, yeah, it was called crack slaw. I don't know.
crack
Um,
slaw.
yeah,
It's a great name.
yeah,
It's like two
um,
gross words, and we have named a food after that.
yeah, yeah. Well, I I used to make when I was doing keto in the early days. Uh, Brussels sprouts sautéed with chorizo, and I loved that. And
Mhm.
I think it was because I loved the sausage and this. And the recipes would say like get a quarter of a pound of sausage and saute it, and like a pound of Brussels sprouts. But I would get like a pound of sausage and some Brussels
Yep.
sprouts.
Yeah.
And if only I had known that it was okay to leave out the Brussels sprouts, but I definitely, my ratios were totally off. Yeah.
Yeah. I always, every dish that is like, every time I see a recipe or I would see a recipe for something that was like vegetables and meat, I always went heavier on the meat than what they said. It never seemed like enough. And especially now being carnivore, where I could just look at a recipe and see like, that's only a half pound of meat. That's not nearly enough. Triple
Hmm.
it. Like
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so Miss Tady says not trying to count carbs, doing meat and vegetables, more meat. I'll do that Thursday and Saturday when my family does Thanksgiving part two. That's right. So some people have, multiple families and places they have to go. So there's, part ones, two, three, four, and five Thanksgiving. So, that's
Mm.
you definitely have to have a plan for that. And she's
Sounds like a
also
gauntlet.
making, yeah. And she's also making spinach, artichoke, and crab dip that her family loves. That sounds delicious. Yeah. Um, Heather G. Oh, there was a Bob Evans in Virginia, but had a boycott due to racial prejudice. Well, yes, that's why we weren't supposed
Mm.
to eat at Cracker Barrel too, right?
Were they actually racist or was it just so I know when you walk into Cracker Barrel, that opening part feels like you've walked back into
That's slave cabin.
slavery.
Yeah,
Yeah, like it
yeah.
feels like all the it's more modern now because they're selling a lot more. They're not just selling old-timey stuff, but you can just buy regular novelties and knickknacks in there, candy and stuff. But yeah, for a while, it felt like it's a whole lot of relics of a time where I would have been a slave inside this place.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so I don't know. I thought it was because of their labor practices, but I don't know. But
Mhm.
again, like I said, I was on board with all these boycotts because it wasn't, I had no access to these places.
Right. It's like,
It's like
yes, down with Cracker Barrel.
I'm still boycotting Walmart. I think I've only ever been to it once. There's one in Long Island, but there's none nowhere near close to me. So yeah, I'm on board with that boycott. Um,
Fighting the power every day.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, but I worked for labor unions, so labor practices are actually important to me. And Walmart has some pretty bad labor practices. So
No, I
um,
agree. I
yeah,
generally stay away from Walmart for that reason.
mhm, yeah. Okay, so J Ray says I will make keto desserts and quiche berries or nisha berries, keto stuffing for Thanksgiving dinner. I'll try to stay on carnivore the rest of the weekend. All right, excellent. Um,
Good.
so uh, yeah, has everybody here tried nisha berries keto stuffing? And what'd you all think about it? I did try to make one year. I tried to make stuffing made from pork rinds and it looked like pork rinds. It looked, I know, so the dish I made in the casserole dish, it looked like dressing. It looked beautiful. It was this golden color, just it looked like it was going to be crispy, fatty, sausagey, delicious dressing. But when I ate it, it just tasted like pork rinds and it was not good. So
Mm.
it looked good, it looked right, but it didn't taste right. So, but I was only using, herbs and butter and sausage and pork rinds. I did not use cheese, and I feel like other people who've made it and added cheese had more success with it. So, I'd love to hear from you guys, like how it worked for you. Um, let's see. Heather says, I think I'll be making either soft shell crabs or crab cakes and maybe fried oysters. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I like how you're thinking, really bringing some creativity and flair to this. All right. April Ray says she wants to try the Nisha's keto cornbread too. Awesome. Stephanie
Hmm.
said, I posted that steak au poivre, but might just make steak and scallops. Perfect. Excellent. Um, Esther says a turkey based in its own juices isn't dry. I love turkey. My experiences with turkey have not been so kind until I started to brine them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think the only time I've had decent turkey has been brined or fried, deep fried.
Mhm. I have wanted to try. I did try deep fried turkey once from a restaurant, but like I think it was like 2 in the morning and it was the last of whatever was left and it was the worst thing I've ever had. So I feel like it wasn't, it wasn't their best effort and it was
Hmm.
late, and it was the dregs, but it definitely did not make me think, oh, I've got to do this. It was just kind
Right.
of like, mm, I already didn't like turkey and now you made it worse somehow, so it was like hard and, like dried out
Ugh.
and hard and yeah, but, but it was 2 in the morning, Friday night after Thanksgiving. So yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So they messed it up. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, the one
Hmm.
time I had it, I was lucky enough that it was really good. My father's cousin in New Orleans made it, and
Hmm.
good God, that was the best turkey. It actually redeemed turkey for me. Like it
Hmm.
was that good that I was like you, I couldn't stand turkey before that, and I still basically
Hmm.
can't stand turkey. Um, to the point now that like the only turkey I'll eat is the dark meat, like a leg or a
Hmm.
thigh. And even then, like those are pretty good, but they usually end up tough compared to the rest of
Hmm.
the meat that is actually tender, but it's dry.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess I feel like turkey is kind of like white bread, it's good when you all the things you add to it give it its flavor and make it good. It's not it's not good in and of itself.
Yeah.
But but I like to take a bite of cranberry sauce, dressing, turkey, and gravy, and all of that
Yep.
together. That's a masterpiece. But the
Yeah.
individual turkey, it's just like this is just a vehicle for better stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to do turkey with the cranberry sauce a lot, or it's
Hmm.
being dipped in gravy,
Hmm.
or yeah, or with the yams sometimes.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, I need something to add some moisture and some flavor to that turkey.
Hmm. Yeah. So Pat Jacobs says, I'm making a tray of bacon wrapped turkey wings. No guess. Yes. That sounds
Mm,
delicious.
okay.
Yeah. And Audra says, I like small plates. I'm hosting and making many dishes that just taste good on the carnivore, ketovore, keto, paleo spectrum. Nice. And a few folks are bringing things they like. Yeah, tell them, you come into my house, I'll give you great meat. If you feel like you need to have dessert, you can have it on the back porch with the other smokers. Just take all that garbage out there. Yeah, take it out back.
Right. Yeah.
Hmm. Um, okay, so let's see. Uh, oh, April Ray says she plans to try Nisha's dressing but add oysters. Yeah, I've totally heard like that's a New England thing, right? To have oysters in the dressing. Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. I can't.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't really know oysters
Mm.
much. But yeah, this is a thing that I just started hearing about last year. I had never known that people put seafood in Thanksgiving food.
Yeah, yeah. It's I mean, we live in a global world now, so a lot of times it feels like, everybody is consuming the same culture, and so, therefore everything is the same, but it's nice that there are some regional differences still. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. So Missy Gonzalez
Um,
says I'm gonna Oh, go ahead.
no, good.
So Missy Gonzalez is going to use the protein sparing modified bread as a base for her stuffing. So that sounds good. Johnny G, 2 a.m.
Yeah.
gas station turkey sounds awesome.
So
Yeah.
all the keto stuffing, it's like really fat based, right?
No, I mean, it's got to have the thing in it that makes it bready. So it's that. But stuffing is
Well,
itself fat based. I mean, even when I was in my old days making it, I'm still using 2 sticks of butter. Like
well,
that's what
but
makes it
the
so good.
yeah, I guess I'm saying fat based as in like the most of the mass of the thing. Like unless you're doing this protein sparing modified fast bread, like the other recipe you were talking about used pork rinds, right?
Yeah. Other people have used cheese, and it sounds like somebody wrote in there that she was, I guess, uses almond flour. So there's various kinds of bases that people are using.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so Sharika says, I want to try to make pork belly deviled eggs. I don't know how, that sounds amazing. I don't even know how you do that, but that sounds amazing.
Pork belly
So,
devil.
yeah. Well, I'm assuming she makes the pork belly, uses the fat render to mix up the yolks and, to make
Mm,
the egg yolk, and I don't know, eats the pork belly on the side. However that works, it sounds good.
that yeah, that could work. That actually makes me. I've been thinking lately. Been eating a lot of pork rinds as my like
Hmm.
getting in part of getting myself back together. I feel this urge to snack, and pork rinds are a good way to snack that aren't killing me. But
Hmm.
then I get tired of buying pork rinds all the time.
Hmm.
So yeah, I might try to make rinds later with pork belly.
I don't think I would make it with pork belly. I mean, there's other cuts where you get a bigger hunk of skin and fat that would make better pork rinds.
Oh,
So
like
like when
what?
I get the Boston butt or shoulder, like that's a better cut to, to make something of. I mean, the pork belly is good. It's just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like you get as much skin to, you're not going to make that much pork rind.
Mm, okay. But then if I buy a Boston butt, then I gotta eat the inside of that, and I don't want that.
Well, I mean, yes. I don't know. Maybe you go and ask them if they'll sell you the skin. Because some places cut the skin off of the pork belly, so maybe you can just buy the skin.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I'm getting to a point where I feel like experimenting again,
Well,
and
why are you
that might be
snacking
it.
more?
I couldn't tell you.
Hmm.
Um, I probably, I don't know actually. It's like late at night, it'll be like 11, 12 o'clock, and I'll just have this urge to eat, and I know like I don't actually want food. I don't want a full meal. Um, and I probably don't need to indulge it, period.
Yeah, why are you not in bed?
Just not. I mean, there's no good reason.
I mean, maybe that's the thing. Because if you're getting
Oh,
up at what, 7? Like, you should probably be asleep at that point.
oh yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
More days than not, I need to be asleep before 12,
Hmm.
probably sometime from 10 to 11.
Hmm. Well, all right. Okay, so Sharika says my carnivore kitchen just found her today. She has some amazing, unique carnivore recipes. She has a pork belly deviled eggs recipe. It looks amazing. Um, I don't know who my carnivore kitchen is, so I will have
I,
to check that out.
yeah, I feel like I jokingly said carnivore kitchen before, and turns out that somebody was already using that.
Hmm, nice.
Like I think when you and Deb first cooked together, I said you could call it the carnivore kitchen.
Uh-huh. Well, so everybody, I am really pleased that you are starting to pull together, actual plans with specifics. I think it is really important to get specific, figure out, what exactly you need in order to be successful and make sure that those things are available for you. Don't think you can sort of wing it or, maybe fast through it or, it's not that big a deal. It is a big deal. You need the stuff you need to be successful, and just go ahead and make sure that you have it. You deserve it. You are, working on your health. Your health is important, so go ahead and take the time, the money, or whatever it is that you need in order to have the tools for success.
Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
I will second the detailed plan. Um, you gotta have something in place. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
just walking into the unknown with no contingencies in place is gonna leave you making bad decisions that you didn't, not ones that you were okay with making.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody. Oh, Johnny G says you can get pork skin at butchers in Australia. Jealous much? Yes. Yes, I am much
Yeah.
jealous.
I'm jealous that you have a butcher to go to.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I live in a city. That's not a thing that just happens everywhere.
yeah. Okay, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. So, next week, of course, is Thanksgiving. So, there will be no live stream. First time in ages, but no live
Mm.
stream next Thursday. But on Tuesday, I will premiere the second half of the van life interview. So be sure and catch that. And then I will see you the following Tuesday where we will have another interview. I've got a few interesting ones that I've done recently. So there'll be, so there's some interesting stuff coming up. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how well you all are doing. And then I will see all of you who are interested joining the challenge on December 1st. I'm really excited for that. And I think this time I'm going to include a cash prize. So, one
Damn.
lucky person will have their challenge paid for. So there you go. Yeah,
Nice. Get
yeah,
on it.
yeah, absolutely. All right, happy Thanksgiving, Arian. I am so excited that I'm gonna have a good one this year, and I'm excited that I also get to see my dad. I haven't seen him in a long time, so that'll be cool too.
Good. Enjoy yourself.
Hmm. I will. All right, everybody. See you later. Have a great one.
Good night.